So, Andrew, do me a favor for my post-production. Say your first name, last name a couple times.
Andrew Foliato. Andrew Foliato.
Okay, that's good. I got it. Andrew Foliato. Not too bad.
Yeah.
So let's a couple seconds of silence. We're going to go for 10 minutes. We'll take a break. Welcome to the Real Estate Show. Today, it is March 17th, 2016. That's a Tuesday. We've got our guest today is Andrew Foliato. I will probably fix that in post-production, so don't worry. We've got Greg McDaniels from the Bay Area and McDaniels Callahan Group. We've got Jonathan Dinwood from Carson City and MailRite, and a tech business owner here over on the other side of the hill. Andrew, where are you calling in from today?
I'm in a little town called Aurora, which is just north of Toronto.
Okay, Aurora, very good. And of course, I'm Bill Conrad. I'm from Reno, and we're just having a great old time. So, Andrew, to get it going real fast is, first of all, how does the average real estate agent, the small guy, just getting started or whatever, compete against Zillow?
So it takes a lot of time to compete with someone like Zillow, but if you're willing to put the time in, you can definitely do it, because when people are searching on Zillow, at that point, they're looking for homes, but there's a whole section of search before that where they're looking up information about the neighborhoods, the schools, what's in a certain area, what about the process, like how much money do I need to save? Basically every single step that leads up to before, because the actual searching for the homes is one of the last steps in a lot of people's process. So by putting content on your site that covers that entire section, they're going to start to know, like, and trust you before they even get to Zillow. So even if it comes to the point when they're searching on Zillow, they're now already going to want to work with you and want to call you. So by having that content there, it's going to help you out a lot. So you're going to catch them before they ever get Zillow.
Very good, very good. So Jonathan, why don't you take it away?
Yeah, I think that's fantastic, Andrew. And so many agents and brokerages don't really realise that, because they're going to look for areas, aren't they? If they're moving, they're going to look about the actual cities, smaller towns around a city. If they're moving areas, they're going to look at different areas, aren't they? They're in information. I call it, they're in information focus, aren't they?
Yeah, and especially with schools, that's a big one. Like, people are especially if you're moving to an area you don't know, you want to know a lot about the schools, and schools is one of those things that there's not a lot of information out there about. So you really want to put a ton of information. You can interview people who go to the school, interview the principal, get some teachers to even get on camera and talk a bit about it. Like, don't be afraid to interact with the school, to get involved, and start putting all that content out there. And it's a huge value for anyone who's not familiar with the area.
And these portals, they just can't compete with that, can they? They never will be able to compete with that, will they? But why do you think so many agents and brokerages don't really understand that? Got any insights?
It takes a lot of time to do. Yeah, it's a lot of time to go through building all this content. It takes a lot of time, and it's a slow play. If you started building content today, it's very easy. You don't start seeing results for 6 or 8 months. It's like when you start door knocking a new neighborhood, you're not going to overnight become the neighborhood guy. Yeah. It takes time and consistency to get there. And because it's the internet, where you still have a lot of people who think that all the internet leads aren't great, it's still there. You've got to fight that, and then fight the time and consistency of it too. So, but just like door knocking can work, just like cold calling can work, so can this strategy, and it can work really well. You just have to commit to using it.
Jonathan, let me add one thing to that. I didn't realize it until about a year later, but all of a sudden the podcast that we do, my wife's podcast, when I interview local people in timelines, that actually started paying for itself out of the blue. I wish I'd put that short little real estate commercial in it last year, into the podcast, but it does. It takes time on any social media to start making it work, or any form.
Yeah.
So very good. Greg, what do you think?
Well, I think he's right on the right track. I mean, doing a lot of those different forums, getting the information about the different schools, interviewing other people in the community, becoming the man around town or the woman around town. That is what's going to be what's going to make you stand out and be different to the homeowners. Andrew, I preach the same things you preach in regards to telling people, look, you got to go out there. You got to be something different. Take this thing, it's called a cell phone, has a high resolution camera on it. go interview people, go do Facebook Lives, that get turned into video, and push that stuff out there and start being, because people don't want to work with just a real estate agent anymore. What they want to work with is someone who understands the community, the nuances, the nitty gritty aspects that, a large data company just purely cannot get. And my personal opinion, I'm with you, Bill. Zillow is a waste of time and money. They rape you over the coals, and they give you very little in return for it, unless you're spending $5,000-$10,000 a month, which the typical agent just doesn't have. But everybody has a smartphone with a high def camera.
Yeah, I think, I'm kind of, I don't know what your opinion is, Andrew, but I'm more on a kind of middle of the road. I think what you've got to understand is the kind of quality of leads you're going to get is going to be pretty poor. That's why they even offer their own additional services to scrub it, cleansify it a bit more. I've listened to some of your other previous discussions, Andrew, which have been great, and you really seem to be really into Facebook. First of all, would you agree with that? And secondly, obviously we've had some recent changes with Facebook doing live, a bit like what Blab's doing. How do you think that's going? And like to discuss what you think of Facebook and the successes that you've had with it.
Yeah, Facebook is a really powerful tool that I think a lot of people don't believe in it. And most of that is because more than 90% of agents, I think, are just using Facebook wrong. And a lot of them think maybe it's a page. Pages, their own main value now is the ability to do ads. The real true value, especially if you want to become a community expert, start joining groups that are local. The groups that are on Facebook, I know I get a ton of business out of Facebook groups. I'd say right now, almost half my clients, either directly or indirectly, have come out of some sort of Facebook group that I've been a part of. It's a really effective way to get in there and talk with people. There's a lot of, I know in my town, a buy and sell group for Aurora, where people go on and they talk about buying and selling. And you can see a ton of people in there who are looking to sell something because maybe they're decluttering their home, and you can get in that conversation with them. And if you help facilitate that, that can also help you out. Just provide value in these groups, and you're going to see a lot of kind of good come from it in the end. In terms of the live video, it's still new enough. I haven't seen a ton of people kind of using it well. It's definitely one of those topics that's hard to see where it's going to be the most effective, because most people right now are just using it for open houses. It can work, not necessarily the most creative way to use it. I think there's a good opportunity there to do maybe live Q&A. So answering questions for first-time buyers on Facebook, things like that. There's a lot of opportunities, but it's still so early with it. And it's still it's too hard to necessarily say that Facebook live video is going to be huge in real estate.
Well, Andrew, what I did with it today actually is I was at we had a $3.6 million listing in a place called Alamo. And so what I did is I just said, hey, I'm living the hard life at a $3.6 million listing, and then went live, and then just waited for people to come on, to just chatted with them. I had over 100 people that visited with me. I had over 75 people that were communicating with me. And people, as I went through the rest of the broker's tour today, people were talking to me going, what was that? What is going on? I mean, I have a gal that I used to date. She just hit me up on Facebook Messenger while we were talking. She's like, hey, sorry I missed you as you popped on. I saw you, and then I thought it was live, and I popped off. It was, oh my, what was that? And I'm like, yeah, you should use this thing. It's a powerful tool. I mean, there's no other tool out there that has a built-in base for people to come watch you, that want to interact with you, that it's recorded into a video format, and you can take live fire questions. You can do a virtual open house with someone on the other side of the world, or have it forwarded to them while they see all the interactions, so they see that you're viable. Then it's not like one of those videos that gets 2 views on YouTube and nobody ever sees it. So I think it's in, like you said, Andrew, it's in its infancy. But I think as soon as people get over the fear of live video, and they understand that they can communicate with people live time and talk to them essentially, I think it could be big. But yeah, only time will tell.
Yeah, I think especially people who have a unique situation, that's where it's really going to take off. $1 million homes, you'll get a ton of action. If you're in a recreational area these days, like cottage countries, lakes, mountains, it's an unfair advantage now with the way Instagram and social media is. It's going to be huge. Luxury and recreational properties should be the best. Social media should be the best thing that ever happened to those agents.
Yeah, I can also, you know, what you said about pages, but I've been reading the new book from old Chris Smith. And folks, he's agreed to come on the show in the next couple of weeks. So that should be an interesting discussion. He's in his chapter about Facebook. He still is adamant that you've got to have a page and you've got to be using Facebook advertisement. You know, I know it does depend if you're in a really, really hot area. Oh, he's gone, folks. Hopefully he's going to return. What shall we do, Bill? What shall we do?
Go to a break.
We're going for a break. And
time for a break.
I guess we'll return.
We'll turn and we'll find all about Andrew. Okay, we're just blabbing around the break, and we're coming off the break, and we're going to finish up and then go on to Andrew's life and success principles. We're going to finish up with talking about the funnel and the conversion code by Chris, like you're talking, Jonathan, before the break. So a couple more minutes on the funnel.
Yeah, the conversion code. You've been reading it like me, Andrew. What did you have you read the Facebook chapter?
I haven't gotten to that yet.
Oh, you've got to quicken your reading speed, Andrew. But he's adamant that Facebook is still where the action is, and Facebook advertisement. So would you generally advise agents if they're not in a super hot area, that they really should still look at Facebook advertisement if they really want to boost, the results they're getting? What's your thoughts about that, Andrew?
I think in any area you should have it. Even in the most competitive markets, it's still effective. And it's about doing really targeted ads. Like you can drop it down to such a small amount of people you're targeting that you can do really, really effective ads. Like you can target new parents specifically. Like okay, so I have a married couple between 29 and 36 who, have kids under 3. Well, maybe they're going to need a bigger home now. So you can target them in that specific area, and you can do that in big cities. So you don't have to target large groups where you do a newspaper, you don't even know how many people are seeing it and how relevant it is to each of them. You know if their circulation is, but how many of those people put it right into their recycling bin? Facebook, you can get it down to a very small number. Like I know this ad's going out to 2,000 people, and then I know how many people saw it. I know how many people clicked on it. I know how many people converted into leads. And it's a really, really effective tool. And that's why Facebook pages are so valuable, because you need a Facebook page to have a newsfeed ad. And the newsfeed ads are some of the most effective ones.
Yeah, can you, to wrap up before we go on to your success principles, can you give some quick insights about the different types of advertisement? You just mentioned news feeds. Can you mention some of the others and give some information to our audience around that?
Sure. So there's the Facebook news feeds, which are the most important ones to do. And it basically just looks like a regular post on Facebook and then just says sponsored underneath. Those are the most effective ones. Then there's the right column ads, which are the ones you see up on the right side, not quite as in-depth, smaller. They don't perform as well. But lately I've actually seen them performing a little bit better than they had in the 6 months previous. So they're worth paying attention to, at least, because maybe Facebook's made a change. I'm not sure. But I've found in the past month or so, they have been performing better for me. Then there's obviously mobile news feeds, what people are seeing on their phone. You can also do Instagram ads through Facebook. For Instagram ads, what I found so far, engagement is a lot higher. So you're getting a lot more people hearting the photos, which is the Facebook equivalent of a like. With that being said, though, I haven't seen a higher ratio of clicks. So like a mobile newsfeed ad in Facebook, I find is getting the same amount of click-throughs as the Instagram ads, just the Instagram ads are getting more engagement. So for Instagram, it's a great place for branding, but you're not getting a ton more clicks, I found, than Facebook mobile newsfeed ads. They also do what's called Audience Network, which is, you're on an app or something like that, and you have like a pop-up ad before. Some of those can be through like the Facebook Audience Network. Those ones I always turn off.
Very good. Greg, you're being quiet today, but we need to jump in these life and success principles. So we can be on timelines. We do 2 RSS feeds, which is kind of fun. So your life and success principles, we're going to go through those quickly. And you can also say how they might apply to a real estate agent. And I really like they're a little different. but I'm going to name them, then we'll go over them one by one. Be serendipitous, never say no to an opportunity, and take time for your family. So be serendipitous. What's that mean to you, and how does that apply to real estate?
So for me, that just means always kind of adapting to the chaos that's out there, because every day you get up, it's going to be a little different. In real estate, especially being an entrepreneur, you never know what's coming that day. Like, you might get a call, you're at the door at 5 minutes that you didn't expect to be. Like, I've had days where I thought I was going to have a nice, quiet work from home day, and I didn't get home till 10 p.m. That's going to happen sometimes, and you just got to go with it. And you don't complain about it. You just get up and you go with the day and make it happen. But part of that too is you also have to be willing to know which times it's not the right one to jump with one of those opportunities, or one of these things you have to do. You have to time block. So like, I know I need to spend 2 hours in the morning doing a specific task. I'm turning off everything else so I don't get taken away from it.
Well, never say no to an opportunity. So what's that all about?
So that is, you never know where something's going to lead. So I get calls all the time from people asking me, am I interested in doing this? Am I interested in doing that? I'd like to work together. I'll always listen to them, listen out, and then see where I think that opportunity is going. I'll give people the chance to perform, even if I've heard maybe from other people that they're not the best person to work with, because I'd rather see for myself. But if I've heard something, maybe I let them prove it a bit first. But I'm always willing to give an opportunity out.
Greg, I asked Greg a little question on the side. It's kind of interesting. So in real estate, people want to be listened to. So you got to listen more than talk. Do you run into that too? What do you do how do you sort through your calls and your opportunities, Greg?
In regards to leads or anything, people that are calling to do anything?
Never say no. Does that apply to you?
No, I mean, I'm very much like Andrew. I'll vet them out myself, because maybe there's someone who has a personality difference, or maybe they have a bias against them. So like Andrew, I'll have a conversation, I'll have a lunch, I'll have a call. But if I think they're full of it, I'll be, as you guys know, I will tell them in no short, very unkind terms that they are not going to waste any more of my time. Yeah. And because, it's your time, it's your business. You have to protect it. This is how you make your living, put the food on your table for your family, put the shirt on your back for your kids. And so if you let someone who's going to be just self-serving push your time around, then you're essentially letting them push your family around. So in my mind, there's not a chance, and what that's going to be happening in my life. But, very much Andrew's point, I'm going to go out and vet them myself, because there might be just something different there. So
Andrew, finally, and take care of your family, or take family time.
Yeah, that's most important. And for a big part of it, because I'm so techie, like I have iPads, phones, extra monitors, like I have tech everywhere. Like I'm looking at screens all day long. Like I think right now I can see 5 different screens just from my seat. So when I'm spending time with my family, I'm making sure that's all off. Unless we're like binge watching some Netflix together, we'll have that one screen on. But like phone goes away, we hang out together. If we have the dogs out, we take them out. I leave the phone away. And so like you'll find like I go to major events, I'm not Instagramming them a lot. Like maybe I'll take a picture at the beginning, maybe I'll take a picture at the end. But for the most part, during like big events, things like that I'm doing with my family, you won't see a ton of social media action during it, because I'm trying to engage in the moment with my family. And that helps me really kind of recharge and get away from all the stress of running a business.
Very good. With that, we're going to take a quick little break again, and then we'll come back to a little commercial for you. How can the listener get a hold of you? And finally, one last question. Okay, coming off the break, it's really important, Andrew. How can the listener get a hold of you?
They can reach out to me, justsellhomes.com. They can also add me on Facebook. I'm very happy to interact with people on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. The easiest way to get a hold of me is my name, my full name, Andrew Foliato, is my username on every platform.
Nice. And then finally, a little commercial. Anything you want to tell the listener, or what can the listener do for you?
Yep. So my company is called Just Sell Homes. So if you're looking for anyone to help you do anything digital in your business so you can focus on just selling homes, you can reach out to me, and I can certainly come up with a custom strategy that'll fit your business.
And we can definitely do likes on your website, right? On your Facebook page.
Oh yeah. Or add me as a friend. I share a lot on there as well. And
for one last question, you're going to get 2 last questions. I'm going to let Greg ask a question, and Jonathan, why don't you finish it up?
So, Andrew, there's a lot of the times that when I'm coaching and working with clients as well, or just see an agent in the office, you say, Greg, how can I make my website convert more leads? And maybe it's a website thing, maybe it's a personality thing. Is there maybe something that you can blend a high tech and a high touch in there so that they aren't so dependent upon this box that we're all sitting in front of called the computer?
Yeah, a lot of us putting some personality on a site. Like, I'll give you an example. When I first started in real estate, I went to my office that I was joining, and I opened up a tab for every agent in the office. There was 40 of them. Over 30 had the same website template. So if you went to any of them, the only thing that changed was the photo and the name. No personality in any of it. So put a little bit of personality, and it's going to want people to make them meet you in person. Like when I was selling real estate, I'd go to like the farmer's market, and people would come up and talk to me like, hey, you're that real estate agent with the website. And then they'd start a conversation with me. So my website was helping to facilitate my in-person discussions that I was having. And if you're doing everything online right, it should help you get in front of more people face-to-face.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. The personality is something the majority of real estate agents completely lack because they're about as exciting as wet cardboard on a rainy day. And, if we're able to, make them stand out a little bit, like what you do, Andrew, find that secret sauce with them and then exploit it in the most positive way out on multiple different internet or social media channels. They're going to resonate with other people like them. And then those folks are going to want to come up and talk to them. So I completely agree with you. I think it's a phenomenal idea.
Oh, great, Craig. One last question, Andrew. It's been reported quite consistently that the profitability of brokerages is just basically being slaughtered. It's getting less and less and less. Got any insights why that is? And what do you think the independent brokerage has got a long-term future?
I think independent brokerages can still have a big future because they're going to be quicker than the big brands. I mean, you can adapt a lot quicker to the marketplace, and you can make changes maybe necessarily without having to go all the way up the chain. So the quicker you can respond and deploy things, the better off you're going to be. The brokerage model in general, though, there's always going to be some risk there. And you see a lot of what I see is like the transition toward teams, where a brokerage is actually just a team. It's not a bunch of agents kind of joining together and working out of the same office. It's teams are just joining in, and the entire brokerage is only the team. They share leads, they grow the business together. So it's almost like slowly going back to the employee model a bit. It's kind of like a hybrid of the two.
Yeah, I think that's a great. You got to be that little mammal, and you've got these big dinosaurs, but the mammal can move around quicker, can't it, Andrew?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it's all about speed now.
With that, we'll finish up for the podcast. We're going to stay on for a half hour or so and let other folks in ask questions. And really, I really like, folks, if you're listening on the podcast, come on in, go to WP Tonic or Timelines of Success, and 2 RSS feeds, and watch this show and watch after the show. And join us every week, same time, 4:00 Pacific on Thursdays. Right? Thank you. It's good. Now we're back on the normal show. It's a normal show on the freelance, so just talk. Those are good points. You said something.
They want a link for the book. All right.
Oh, for the book. Yeah. I should have done that, Chris. You caught me offhand. When did you get that book? Did you buy it? Send for it? Jonathan?
Yeah, Chris. I was on the pre-list, and it's a great read, folks. Like I say, I've been... it kind of woke me up because basically Chris says, if you want to be successful, you just got to get on with it and just shut up and just get on with it. And said everybody just has to get on with it, basically. I'm sorry, that's simplifying it. But when it comes to sales, folks, it's got some great insights about telephone sales. And I've been reading those chapters quite considerably because it's my weakest area, but I've got some great insights about that, and I've been applying those. And but as a book, I think it's a really I would buy it. But we need to get the link, so I'm going to try and get the link.
We'll get the link. So
now and put it in. Just give me a second, folks.
Yeah, that's. Hey, just on a side note, Gary V was on yesterday for the first time. Was on. What happened? Gary V for the first time yesterday was on Blab, and I'll tell you what. I've written Jonathan and Greg. I've written you Blabcast, not you Blabcast, but School of Blab. And I said, "Would anybody need this?" I said, "Gary V needs School of Blab." his backlit. He didn't know how to use Blab. And I said, wow, here I am. I'm with my person. And the guy who's interviewing him didn't know how to use Blab that well.
He's got the books, Bill.
So it makes me realize that people need even those short little courses of how to use some of this systems. Greg, your sound is really awesome today. What are you using for mic?
I use the ART 2100.
Well, yeah, 2100. That's what I recommend. That's the number one mic. Yeah, right here.
Yeah, there you go.
That's it right there. The same thing. That's the number one mic to start because it's condensing. And you're using the 2005, I think, Andrew. It's a condensing mic, and it makes you a little tinny, pulls in, and it brings other sounds. I think that's it, 2005. That's okay. It's good for
Audio
webinars.
Technica.
So
yeah, that's mostly what I do.
So Andrew, what would you say? If you were having a chat with an agent, what would you say to them? What are some of the real fundamental errors you think a lot of agents that you consistently see that you like to point out on the show? Does anything come to mind?
The biggest one for them is just getting up and actually doing it. Like, there's too much talk of like, oh, I want to make sure it's perfect first. I want to make sure this is right. I got a little bit more to do before I launch it, but just get up and actually do it. I mean, start working. Don't worry if it's completely perfect. Done is better than perfect. And just get out there and get up and do it. Like, whether it's your website, it's better to have a website out there and start getting content on it than worrying about how do you write the perfect blog post. Instead, just write a blog post and then write another and then write another and get better at it. I find that that's where a lot of agents really drop the ball. Like, I remember my old office, we were doing one time where someone was asking me, like, how do you even get a power of sale property? Like, how do you become the listing agent on it? They had no idea. They just sat around talking about it. Instead of sitting around talking, I just called the bank and asked, and then I got a connection with their guy, and I started becoming the bank's go-to agent for a while just because I picked up the phone and asked. So just pick up the phone and find out and start talking to people.
Yeah, I'm like you. I admire people that actually have a go, because I find too many people are critical of other people. But they're the type that never done it, never had a go. They played it really safe, haven't they? And I've never played it safe. I've always just made my own world, and I think, I'm never going to be playing golf, folks. It's always going to be business with me. So
you ski, though.
Yeah, I ski. Yeah, I do a bit. I did ski today. I was hammering away on the phone.
You ski today?
No, I was I was doing phone calls, social media.
I thought you were skiing. It said skiing, man.
Kind of, you'd be amazed what the amount of stuff I've turned out. So, the web. So, you got any kind of insights about social media and how you link it with your website? Because I think I've got a much clearer picture myself, and I've been in kind of online media as a developer for a while, but then I've become more of a marketer because I've got my own businesses that I'm trying to build. So you got any insights about how the website and the social media should work together?
Yeah, so your website's basically like the hub of your social strategy. Like, it's your digital storefront. So when you're using social media, a lot of it should be to showcase who you are and then bring them back to your website, because on your website is where you're going to get a lot more of the leads. I mean, Facebook keeps changing it in a way so that you can stay on Facebook, and they're trying to encourage you to stay on there, have your conversations there, but you're still having it on someone else's platform. You want to try and bring it back as much as you can to the platform that you own and you run. So I always use social to build relationships and then drive that traffic over to my own website or my clients' websites.
Yeah, because it's the two things that will never change is your web. You should own the website. I'll say that. What do you feel about that? Because I've done a few websites recently for agents, and I'm hosting them for them, but they've got a full copy, and it's month to month, and they can move the website. It's all done in WordPress. Yeah. They can move it. I'm not holding them. I don't think a lot of agents realizing that they're leasing and they should be into ownership. That's kind of a strange thing, really, isn't it? So, and also, you should own your website, you should own your domain, and you should own your mailing list. and your database. So to me, agent, if you're going to be, you've got to have your database, your website, and and a mailing list. You should be doing something with that database. Would you agree with that? And can you give some more, what your feelings about that?
100% agree. For me, like I was even talking to an agent one time who said when they were joining a brokerage, they wanted them to give them their entire database so that they had access to it too. To which my answer would just be run very, very fast.
And never, ever, ever, ever look back.
Like you never keep everything to yourself. Like even just little things, like even your website name, don't put the name of your brokerage in the website name, because what if you change brokerages, or even your like it happened to me, my brokerage got bought out and we changed names without me doing anything.
On your Facebook, don't put your name in your company. You only
always
change it
do
once.
it. Yeah, like make it so it's just something that no matter what happens, you have access, you have control, that no one else can turn off the pipe for you, that it's completely under your control. And that's what I always recommend. Use tools that you control and you can do. Even if you're using a brokerage tool, make it one that you can still take with you if you leave. Like I do consulting with an e-signature company out of Ontario called DealTap, and it's provided often by the brokerages. But one of the things we made, which helps drive agent adoption, is that if you left that brokerage, you keep the account and the data. You just now don't get a brokerage discount. Now you just have to pay for it regularly. And your brokerage doesn't have access to your account. They could push an agreement to your account if you wanted, but you keep it. And that's a big feature for agents.
Yeah, it was needed though. I mean, it has. If someone is asking for your data, they're essentially going to steal it at some point. Yes, not immediately. And like what you talk about, Andrew, is that the fact that we have our team is like we're like a business in a box. We own all of our own numbers. We own all of our own emails. We own everything. We do everything on our own, and we comply to the minimum required by state law for putting in the brokerage's logo and everything else, because you have to build yourself. Because like you said, if you jump ship, bam, you're gone, dude. You cannot be roped in by the other brokerage. I mean, yeah.
Oh, he's frozen.
It's okay.
Maybe it come. I want to put also this
they want
to
their
you,
brand
Andrew.
out there, but it's ultimately you're your own
to
brand.
Me,
So
a brokerage in
just
2016
protect
should
yourself
be
in
this.
all turns.
They should have the budget so they can do television advertising. They should have the budget so they can do radio advertisement. They should have a graphic person in-house. They should have somebody that can do the videos. They should be able to provide, by grouping really active agents and also mentoring new agents, they should bring the resources that are necessary to be a true powerhouse in the 21st century. But they also got to understand that the agents are working for themselves. So it's working together for a mutually beneficial outcome. What do you think about that, Andrew?
I think it can be a very successful model, and I've seen it used. I also don't have a problem with the ones where they don't have anything in-house, but they're also then charging a lesser amount because they're not offering that. But I've seen brokerages where, they're almost taking 50% of commissions, but they have absolutely everything in-house, and it works really well because every agent has really good marketing. And that's where I think, in the future, kind of this team hybrid brokerage is going to work, is because everyone has that high level, whereas you go to these brokerages where maybe it's not all in-house. You still have some really good content because people can now save the money they're paying the brokerage and pay their own person to build their own brand. But then you also get the agents who spend nothing and have, something that looks like they took with their phone and drew on the picture.
What I tried 3 years ago when I had the money, I was going to try to start, but my wife didn't want to test it or invest over here. Was the idea is I'm a general contractor in California, 2 building subdivisions. But build a small office. I want to make it look like a Mac store in front, and the Genius Bar is your one employee, and then a conference room, and then really focus at getting 3 real estate agent teams in there, and then sell. And then you have traditional agents too, but then sell out 40% to 2 of those teams, where they have a real high commission, like 95%. They're part of management. And then build the company, and then go on to build another company, another office, and another office. But then make one of those the managing broker. I think you can repeat that over and over, and just get some common basic It's a corporate relationship then, because the agents own about 40% of the office, the corporation owns about 60, but they still have their teams, and a team is like, as you know, a team is like your own business anyway. It's like a team within your company. So you have ownership, and I thought that was a good model. I still like to do that someday, but that way there's less waste, I think, too. You can have waste in a real estate office too. There's a lot of ways to waste money as a broker if you don't watch it.
Yeah, sounds great.
Even from the copier. The copier.
Yeah.
A lot of copier.
Another thing I like to put, what's the balance about? You've got to have leads, haven't you? But do you think a lot of agents just concentrate getting new leads and don't really concentrate on building relationships with the people that already know them? Do you think where do you think the line is, and do you think it's a bit skew width?
I think too many agents are focused on getting leads because they're not good at converting. So they're trying to hope to get volume of leads because they're not good at getting people to meet in person. But I mean, it's so much easier to raise your conversion just a little bit than it is to start generating a ton more leads. So I always and the goal of everything you do online, whether it's websites or just like introducing technology into your business, should give you more time face-to-face with clients. Like once you get a good system set up on Facebook, that can be running all the time when you're face-to-face with clients, and it can be generating you leads and you're more in person with people. So the goal of everything you do, it's real estate, is to get in front of people because it's such a local business. Like you got to get people in houses, you got to meet people. So that's really what you want to make sure to do.
Maybe another idea for folks to get in front of them is something that I'm going to do. Is I'm starting out probably, well, not tomorrow, but next week, just because timing wise. But go sit your rear end down at a Starbucks or a coffee shop or a restaurant or a bar or a park or something. Just start doing some work. Wear your name tag. Be friendly. Talk to another person. You can do all your Facebook updating and everything else, and lead follow up when you're at the establishment. But if you were able to get out there and start talking with folks, you could start creating that bond. You could maybe even go join a club of some sort of a activity that you really like, and start doing those activities and creating the bond there. Then the conversion rate that people worry about is not going to have such a long gestation period, because they already know you, like you, and trust you. Because let's say you guys are mountain bikers. Well, everybody goes out on mountain bikes. You don't talk about it. They ask you what you do, and you just did a rock and ride. Well, okay, cool. You're covered in mud. I'm covered in mud. We both like each other now. I mean, people need this. I mean, online leads are good, but they still need to have that build up of the relationship and without people skills to go along with the technology skills.
Andrew, but I think you said that anyway, didn't you? You said, I mean, if you haven't got the personal skills, you won't get the conversion. And I totally agree with you, Greg. You see a lot of the younger agents, they're much more savvy when it comes to the technology, but their person-to-person skills are a bit missing. As Chris would say, their sales skills, their ability to bag the client is a little bit missing, to say the least. So you've got to be strong in both areas, really. What do you... we're in the third month of 2016. When it comes to online, what do you think the trends are going to be in the next year? Do you think there's anything that's come on your radar that you think most people don't realise, or do you think on the online we're pretty settled this year?
There's a lot of trends like that now. I think they've been talking about for a while. They're really starting to see a lot of success now. Like even longer form video. Everyone was always talking about, you have to do, a minute or less video, 2 minute or less video. I think that's not true. Like if you make a good video and it's 10 minutes long, people are going to watch it. Like they're spending $500,000 on a house. They're going to watch a 10-minute video about that house if it's good content. So I always say like long form content is tremendously important, and it's going to have a lot of value for people. You just have to make sure it's good content. And if you can make good content long, people will stick for it and they'll like you more.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what, Andrew, you're 100% right, man. I on the podcast I do, we do it for an hour straight or more. Most people don't do it for that, and most people who watch us never thought they would, stick for an hour. But we have people binge watching, like if you guys binge watch on Netflix, same difference, right? But the content has to be there. You have to bring the value to the people. If you're just sitting there and do filler, nobody wants to listen to filler. That's boring. It's a waste. You get dumber for listening to filler.
No fluff.
But if you bring bring the rain and you make it happen, dude, they'll listen to you for hours.
Just the way I see it, lead generation from the portals is fine, but that should give you the money and the time to build up your content, your evergreen content on your website. And I think relying on any external force, Facebook, these portals, anything, it's fine as a part of a marketing plan, but you should be always looking at the resources that you directly control and utilize and build them up. Would you agree with that, Andrew?
Yeah, you want to keep everything where you own it. Like, for instance, I wouldn't do my only blogs on ActiveRain. Like, I know a lot of people use ActiveRain, but I wouldn't only ever blog there because you don't own it. They could theoretically shut it down. You lose all your content. I wouldn't blog on someone else's, like my brokerage's site. I wouldn't blog on their site for them. I'm going to do it on mine. I want somewhere where I own and control the content no matter what happens. And that's a really important thing, is controlling it. And like, say Facebook makes a change, so I don't really write a lot of Facebook notes because they could just make one change and all that value you had is gone. But you want to keep adapting to like what's going on with Facebook because it's still an incredible tool to drive traffic. Then you also want to look at, well, what other things are coming up? Like, for instance, medium.com, really great for writing content on. Putting the odd posts on there can help increase exposure, but I wouldn't do all my posts on there. Same with LinkedIn. You can put a couple posts on there, but don't do them all there. The majority should be on your own site.
I got two questions. The first one's for you, Andrew, and the second one's for everybody else. So I'm going to say both of them. The first one is, I put this up above, what should be on your Facebook business page? What kind of posts should you put on there? And the second question I have for everybody is, when we do write posts and we do guest posts, and how much when we repurpose the post, repurpose the subject, how much does that mess up the SEO? Especially when you let's say you have it on your own website and you put it on like LinkedIn. So those two questions: what should you put on your Facebook site, your professional Facebook, your page? What kind of posts?
So the Facebook page should be, it depends what your purpose of the page is. And it should be in line with like the name of your page. So if the page is called, Andrew Foliato, sales representative, it's going to be really heavy about real estate and my opinions on real estate and, interesting listings, things like that, but things that you would want to see in your own newsfeed. Whereas if it's, you're building a community page called like, I love Aurora, you're going to put all community focused stuff and it's not going to be a sales pitch on it. So just provide value for the people watching it. So always think, here's the name of my page. And if I saw this in my newsfeed, I would want to like it. I would want to comment it. I would want to share it. Too many people just blast, I have an open house this Sunday, 2 to 4. Well, if you weren't in real estate and you were going through your feed, would you really care about, especially if it's someone else from another town? Probably not. So always provide relevant value to the people watching it. And in terms of the duplicate content, it still can work. It will eventually could potentially hurt you. I've seen some studies about it going either way. People kind of disagree. There's actually a quote from someone who worked at Google saying, as long as you're not trying any black hat SEO tactics and you're duplicating content, you'll probably be okay. But you might want to do little changes. Like maybe you change the title of the content, change a few of the paragraphs around just to repurpose it a bit, but make it a little bit different. But as long as you're providing good content and you're using all white hat SEO tactics, then it's okay to duplicate the odd content.
What do you think, Jonathan, on that? That's interesting. I'm always concerned about
curating content and reusing content on various platforms. But if you're producing it, it should go on. It should go on your platform first. The only time, if somebody that's got a bigger web presence than yourself and they're asking, like on WP Tonic, that's our other podcast folks. We have guests and they produce a article for the website, but the agreement is that for a few weeks. That's going to be evergreen content just for WP Tonic. But after that period of time, they've got every right to put it anywhere they'd like. So it varies, but I think you're totally right, Andrew. I think Google's technology, they understand the game just like they made the game, didn't they? So they and their technology now, for the conversation you had earlier on, Bill, with a SEO expert.
Right.
A few couple of years ago, it was difficult, but it wasn't that hard to get results for people if you really knew what you're doing. Now it's much harder, and it takes a lot more money and a lot more commitment
and time. You hit a big one, time. Yeah, tagging and time.
But I'm still amazed. But I just put this to you, and Andrew and Craig. I'm not so sure it's because of Northern Nevada, but I do talk to a lot of agents now. I'm aghast at the amount of agents that don't have their own website. They just have a broker page.
Even a blog.
They don't even have the most basic web presence. What's your feelings around that, Andrew? What's that about?
Well, I mean, if you're not going to do anything with your website, I mean, might as well go with a broker page, because if you just get a basic templated website on your own versus the broker page, but then you don't do anything and you never go online again, your results are going to be the same if it's that or a broker. So might as well save the money and stick with the broker page. If you're going to put any effort into anything online, then you need to get your own website.
Well, having multiple websites is actually a very, very good idea as well. You need to have your branded and your non-branded. I mean, your non-branded is going to pull about 14% or so higher than your branded. People love to feel anonymous, so give them that ability to feel anonymous. But also, you need to be, seen in the online community as an aficionado about the neighborhood. So, Andrew, would you agree with the fact that potentially a lot of your lead gen would push to a non-branded site, and then your branded sites could be used for your blogs and audio casts and maybe writings or anything else about the different neighborhoods, so that people can feel safe with going to this website and getting the information, but also going to this site where you're branded, and then really being able to,
I have my website, obviously,
gain knowledge about
branded, heavy branded,
Andrew, the real
all the information's there. And then I do like single page websites, which are basically just landing pages or squeeze pages, and they're just sitting there with that one URL. There's no like multi-page websites that I have out there otherwise. So I just do a lot of like very specific, like search bungalows for sale in your area. That's one. Home evaluation.
Can you give some examples of your landing pages?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So for a lot of my clients, we have like first-time home buyer seminars. You want to learn how to buy your first home. We're hosting seminars. They do them monthly. You can sign up on the site. That's one. I have another client. He wrote a book called How to Sell Your Home Fast for Top Dollar. Or is it How to Sell for Top Dollar Fast? Not that it matters. So it's one page related to, getting people copies of that book. And so it's individual sites that aren't related to him, but it's related to providing value to the people going to them. So it's a lead magnet that people want. But at that stage of the information, they don't care about an agent. They just want the information. The awareness of the agent is going to come after they get that information, and then you follow up with them. But at that early stage, it's about they have a specific need, and you're meeting that need for them.
And would you have some form of contact capture, basic first name, email,
Yep.
That would offer some additional, because it always amazes me in this area that there's so many new people moving into Northern Nevada. And, all you have to do is some keyword research and knock up some landing pages and offer them an additional PDF with additional information. You can soon be building up your database, couldn't you, Andrew?
Oh yeah, content upgrades are a huge way to generate leads. Like even just on a regular blog post, like when I was writing a blog post about, top 3 things you had to do to sell your home, I'm going to offer a PDF that, click here to download a checklist for everything you need to know about getting your home ready for sale. Things like that offer tremendous value for people, and they're willing to leave their contact information. But every landing page I do has that option of filling out a form to leave your information, or do you want immediate help, call or text. this number. And I always say call or text, because especially with the younger demographics, they want that ability to text. They don't want to always pick up the phone. So tell them it's okay to text you.
That's good. Yeah.
Or ever pick up the phone. I mean, the younger generation has a real phobia against the thing that they have to talk, that box they have to talk into. But we just, my co-host and I, we just figured out what our download is
for real estate agents.
And it's a script book.
It's easy.
We played around with some other ones. These are scripts that I've made up, and people are downloading it like it's going out of style. So yeah, play around with it. But tips and tricks, I mean, the people that are watching this later down the road, one of my favorites is realtytimes.com. You go in there and there's a bunch of write-ups on like buyers, sellers, homeowners, HOAs, rentals, all kinds of stuff that, you know, you can go read a one-page, you know, little article, put your own flavor to it, you know, do a video back out about it, and then post a link to the article saying, hey, look, I got this article, take a look at it, might be helpful for you. So you're not plagiarizing in any way, shape, or form. You're giving credit to the author, but you're also giving your own 2 cents on it. And it's in both written and audio or video form
stuff.
now. So however people consume things,
I'm not exactly being. I'm on my 4th recent real estate website now, Andrew, and I've noticed a trend though. A lot of agents want to talk about themselves, but they write a lot of content about them, and I try to advise them. You've got to think about your clients, what your clients want to know about. Put your shoes. Do you think that's a general problem, or you know, or is it my lack of ability to educate?
It's a big problem in the industry. It's the same with like how there's like 80 people in every market who call themselves number one. It's a lack of imagination, basically. But you always, when you're putting content, you want to put it from the perspective of the consumer. If they're reading it, you should be able to answer the question, what's in it for me if I'm the person on your website? And if it's about you, that has nothing to do with me, really. You're really just kind of trying to tout your own horn. The consumer doesn't care. They'll just go on to the next one. Find the person.
We're the one page, and I like to ask some advice. The About Us, about the agent page. Yeah. When you look at the statistics, that's still, when it comes to agent websites, and I think Chris also talks about this, it's still one of the most heavily visited pages on a agent website. You got any thoughts about what should go on that page? What that should be a more effective About Us page?
Yeah, I generally don't put too much on like, you know, awards, things like that. And make it very much about the agent. So about everything with their life, like where they started, where they are, a little bit about what they like to do in their spare time. And then I actually have it written from a first person perspective. Like I have it being the agent talking to them, because I find people like to read that it's actually that person. And I write it colloquially. I don't make it try to sound like a resume. I make it sound like the agent's actually talking to the person on the site. And I find that works really well. Some people don't like that, and they always like to do third person as well, like third person bios. And I like to add in at like the end of a third person bio, sign it off saying something like, and in Andrew's spare time, he likes to write third person bios about himself. And it just shows a bit of personality. And then they're more likely to want to connect to you, and they see that personality in the about you.
Do you try and get a video, get them, if they're up to it, have a video of them?
Yeah, it's a great way to introduce. Like, video is always kind of a great thing to do online, because so much of building trust with people is them seeing body language and tone of your voice and things like that. So if you're able to, always put video up there. But I also like to have the same content written out, because not everyone's in a position to always listen or have sound playing. Like if they're at work, they don't want that noise coming out in the office, or they don't want the guy in the stall next to them in the bathroom knowing they're on their phone watching a video. They'd rather read it underneath.
I put autoplays in on the archives for podcasts, because you get, as soon as you open it, you get a camera.
Yeah,
that's funny. I thought about that too. Hey, one thing though, you said about, I think it's okay to write about yourself and your family sometimes, and so people know, like, and trust, but you have to do it in the right way. We put a Christmas letter up, and the other thing is a seasonal letter. Like when the season changes, you might want to write what your family's doing and what's happening around your city or community every time the season changes, like summertime. And this is what you might want to do in this summer with us. You know, come and join us or something. I mean, that's an idea where you tie in your family and you. And also on your Facebook professional site, I think it's okay. Jonathan, we've talked about this too. That you want to mix in your business, maybe some automation like Jonathan has with MailRite, which is very affordable and very good. We do, which is stories, and then some personal stories about you and what you're doing, your family.
Yeah, the more you personalize yourself as a human being, but keep it. It's not easy, folks. You know, you keep off politics.
We'll see.
You keep
Politics
off religion and you keep off politics.
Yeah.
But anything, hobbies.
We break that.
Anything that you're committed to, you should start talking about it because that will link you to
What about
cars.
Yeah, car or hobby is good.
Anything that you're interested in, I think that's fine.
Hobby is good.
Another question I was going to ask you, Andrew, what do you think of I've got very mixed feelings about these companies like Boomtown or, to some extent even Curator, where the agent almost gives all their online marketing and say, just do it for me. I have some slight reservation. I think there's a medium ground where you allow somebody to do some of it yourself, but just handing everything over to a third party to do everything for you online. I think I get some reservations a little bit about that because you're handing a sizable bit of your business to somebody else, really. What's your feelings about that?
Well, I'm biased because some agents hand me over their entire
exactly. That's why I'm asking you the question. You don't have to agree with it. It's just you're full of rubbish, Jonathan.
I didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, though there's definitely a balance you need to find, right? Like if you're handing me over everything, you want to make sure I know what you're talking about and know what your business is like, what kind of person you are, and it's going to fit what you want. So like I communicate a lot with my clients, not all of them, because some of them actually don't want to communicate. They just say, I don't care what you do, just get me leads. Others, we have like weekly check-in calls where we're going to talk about, okay, here's the type of strategy we're going to take. This is kind of the voice it's going to have. And then I still encourage them to provide content as well. Like I'll blog once a week for some of my clients, but I'd still rather a couple of blogs a week come from them, even if they're sending me bullet points and ideas of what they want talked about, and I'm just expanding it and writing it in a way that it's kind of optimized. It's still their voice. But you just want to make sure whoever's doing it for you, that you agree with the methods they're using, you know what they're doing, and you are able to stand up for it if something happens, because ultimately it's still your responsibility in the end.
Yeah, it's a bit like your taxes, isn't it? Hiring the cheapest person to do your taxes, and then the internal revenue. So they don't care. They just say, well, you should have hired somebody. That's your responsibility. We're still going to hammer you for the taxes. That was your problem. I agree with you there. What do you reckon, Craig? What's your insights? What's the balance? Oh, he's frozen.
He looks good. He's looking wonderful.
Yeah, he looks like I bored him to tears, doesn't it?
We probably need to tighten this up in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Anybody has any questions or want to come on, give me a yell.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of the times, I mean, it comes down to personality types. Because being a high D and a high I, I gotta control it. I mean, I gotta be running the ship because I want to be always changing things up and playing with things. And I mean, some of the off the wall crazy ideas I put into my own real estate team have generated hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars for us, literally almost overnight,
Craig,
which we would never have achieved because I didn't pull a harebrained idea out of my ear and go put it into work.
What's the surprising thing you've done that's generated leads that, on reflection, you were quite surprised worked? Is there anything come to mind? Right.
I can talk about one of them, but I really can't talk about the other one. And I know it's very mystery, full of a mystery and everything. But one of the things that has really done a lot for us has been just ramping up the outbound circle prospecting to a massive level, leaving about 1,000 messages a day. For the team, collectively, we're doing about 1,000 out. And with that out, we're getting 1 to 2 solid seller leads that are legitimately going to do something and want to talk to us. I did not know it was going to reach those types of numbers. So that's something that really is going to blow us away. Also, we are dipping our big toe into the pond, and what we're going to be doing coming up soon. I'm testing it with my podcast first, but then I'm going to do it for the team, and it's going to be the those YouTube ads that you have to watch for 3 seconds and then you can click away. Yeah. Well, you don't pay for those 3 seconds if they click away. So if you can get your brand and a quick message up within 3 seconds and they still don't like you, that's okay, because you didn't pay for that, and you can get hundreds of thousands.
You can use that
tens
pixel
of thousands, hundreds of thousands of those types of views and pay absolutely zero for it. Pixel targeting, AdRoll has a really cool program out there we're going to roll out, and it's going to they're going to retarget your database. So they upload your database to AdRoll, then they'll just start retargeting ads out to them anywhere on the web, which for a couple of bucks, it's not like they're getting an email, postcard, phone call, email, whatever else. It's no direct. It's just very indirect, but it's branding like Coca-Cola does. And I always say that I want to be the Coca-Cola of real estate in this area. You don't think of, Coldwell Banker. You think of McGain Callahan team, and I want to be omnipotent. And I'm there's a lot of ways out there right now that are free or at a much lower cost than traditional marketing avenues that I think are going to be really, really big. And I think that live video streams like this, interviewing people, like Facebook Live, a lot of those different avenues where people can interact with you and they, that they're real and they're human. I think put them all together in a plan, I think, is a very real way for you to be high tech. But then like Andrew, when you're out there and people are talking to you about stuff, like, hey, what's going on here? It's, you're that guy. Well, that's the same thing with this. They're going to start saying, hey, Greg, you're the guy that was on that thing. I'm like, yeah, I was. What's going on? It's that icebreaker, I think, that is going to be coming down the pipe. So yeah, there's the one. I wish I could talk about the one thing that really is.
God won't allow him even
for
to
us,
mention.
but
He'll come back and mention it. Hey, I just checked on something. I was checking Ask McDaniel. It's available. It's good. You always want to get that Ask.
What's been your experience, Andrew, of retargeting when it comes to Facebook? Has it been a mechanism that's been effective for you and your clients?
Yeah, very effective, especially when you've segmented the list too. Like we will do some for like specifically buyers. We will retarget, and then we'll have other campaigns specifically for sellers. And find on average, you're getting more leads at less cost than the other campaigns that are out there. So it's been very, very effective for basically all my clients.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the reason is that my theory, and Andrew, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, is that since people already know your brand, when they see it pop up, it's just instantly like boom, 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 you're there. And then they're like, oh, that's right, I should call Greg McDaniel, or I remember I got to call him, or my wife and I were talking about something. It's just that little nudge that you might not have in other ways. And I mean, since you're a Facebook guy, I know you'll know about this. You can go into Facebook and you can create your own friend lists. So you can go in and friend all of your clients, all your past clients, everybody, right? And then start, put them in a special feed so that you can, when you're in, your supermarket line or the gas station, you go to Facebook and you go to the, clients or whatever you want to call it. You click on it and you just see everything that they're doing, and you can follow up with them right there. Andrew and his wife just had another baby.
No, we were lucky.
Jonathan, really, just launched his new product. And
you're in really strange. You're actually very good.
Like them, have a conversation with them,
come back again. As long as you come back, that's the main thing. He laughs. Sometimes, Andrew, the guests don't really get my English humour. Well,
thank you.
Don't think it's very humorless at all. Well, I'm blabbed out. I'm not 100% Andrew, but I've lasted. So, got any questions, Bill, that you think we should end the show with? Or
nope. Though, Greg, you should go by askmcdanielrightnow.com. If you have that diction like I do, I'm surprised that's available. Ask McDaniel. Hear that? Go by askmcdaniel.com. It's available. I was doing my diction to domains. I was thinking about what you said for landing pages. Ask McDaniel is available.
Hey, don't even think about it.
You want to bag that?
I'm going to buy it right now and charge him for it. I'll point at my name. I'll point at my name. Ask Bill.
He's the mercenary of heart as ever, Billy the Wizard.
Point it. Make my own landing page.
No.
So to finish up, Andrew,
No.
you know, you got any kind of tip or trick that you like to share to the audience? You got any kind of thing that they could do in the next week that might really help them, apart from the obvious hiring you, obviously? Have you got anything else?
So, well, one tip that's actually worked well for my clients is, like, when you think about people who door knock, a really effective way to door knock is like, I have a buyer looking in your area. It's a really effective way to door knock if you actually have a buyer. I've now taken those campaigns and put them on Facebook. So I'll, even take a picture of the client, put them with a picture of like their ideal type of house, target it to the neighborhood they want, because you can go down to like 1 mile radius and say, this is my client, here's their name, they're interested in buying a home in your neighborhood. Click here to find out if your home's a match. It generates a lot of appointments, a lot of potential people looking to sell. So even if the home's not a match, you have that conversation started. So I find that one's been really effective for us.
I'll give you top marks on that, Andy. You get 9 out of 10 for that little one. You get a much higher mark than the mystery solves that Craig says talked about.
Hey, before we finish up, I'm doing a test. You got me thinking about these landing pages and different names, because I do think you need a lot of landing pages and build them and get really good at building just a landing page. But Greg, do me a favor, click that link I just stuck in there and tell me what it says. You freeze, or anybody else click it? You click it, Jonathan.
All right, I'll click
and it says, can you create an account there?
Going to blow my browser up.
And what's it charge? What's it asking?
And I'm just getting charter. I'm just getting a.
No, when you click that, it's not getting anything that link.
No.
Darn it! Why?
No, it's loading.
I think that's more to do with Blab.
Are you not getting anything either?
No.
So when you guys click that, you're not getting anything like create an account or anything. That link down there.
No, it's just a slowly load Untitled page.
Huh. That's a bummer.
There we go. That's life, isn't it, Andrew? Well, Andrew, I think we've blabbed out. Thank you so much for coming on the show. You did answer. I hope I was one of those pleasant surprises that you get in the start of your day. I think we've covered some really interesting stuff. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. It will be on YouTube. Bill will do his sound wizardy. He does excellent work. And we'll have you on the podcast and we'll send you the link. And we'll have you back on the show in a few months if you're prepared to join us again.
Absolutely, anytime. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I think we've covered some interesting stuff, haven't we, Andrew?
Yeah, it's been a good talk.
All right.
Do you ever get Bill has a go at me? What really gets you excited, Andrew? A big check?
Well, sure. But what really gets me is finding something I didn't expect that works online. Like finding that one that, gets you 5 serious seller leads right away. Like I actually really enjoy doing that. And then I know when I get that from my client, they're going to be a client for life when I find those ones that work. So that personally gets me really excited, is finding those campaigns that you didn't expect to work or you weren't sure what they're going to do. And then the results just start rolling in, especially when it's an idea you just randomly had and went with it.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. All right, Bill, shall we end it, Bill?
Okay. I've seen this too. Right now, if you have your own real estate agents, like I have Bluehost, SiteGround, and DigitalOcean. If you're a real estate agent, a lot of real estate agents might have a blog site on Bluehost. They are like exploding right now. And they went in there and changed people's codes and screwed around with even on your back panel to get into my back to get into your back panel. That they have changed, put some code on. So even if you're transferring that to another domain provider, so I think we might have seen the same thing. But like, don't buy it hosting for more than a year if you're going to host. Just a little rule, and then so you can transfer to whoever's working with. Because Bluehost is definitely having problems right now, and.
Get me busy, folks.
Hopefully, get them on the cloud.
I've made some nice money this week. Me and my crew sorted that out. That
Bluehost with Cloudflare. Yeah.
Just go DigitalOcean, folks, and let us manage it for you.
Well, you don't even have to let you manage it. You can just set them up with DigitalOcean and let it go, too.
Oh, well, you always got to say the wrong thing, Bill. They should come to nice, friendly people at WP Tonic.
But it's a lot of work to set it up, but you can set it up.
They sample my English humor, Bill.
Yeah. So anyway, we're tired. I don't hate to say things on this kind of media, but
he prefers the French anyway, Andrew.
No, we have the state. We're offline. We had the state gymnastics championship this week. I'm really big into the gymnastics world in Nevada, so I got a busy weekend with the state championship.
You seemed a bit puzzled looking, Craig. Is it just been
Greg?
That might be Greg.
Greg, when you guys start talking about hosting companies, my mind just starts tuning out. I'm like,
you have a hosting company somewhere.
That's why I have Matt on my podcast. He understands that stuff. That's why I'm like, here you go, buddy. I do people. You do whatever you do.
That's good.
Go forth and multiply. That's all right. Can you cut me off now, the wizard?
Well, I'll cut Andrew, we'll let Andrew go by. Wave goodbye. Wait a second. Let me record this.
Insights to the actual cost structure of a hosting company,
and
when you even at $10 a month, and a lot of these companies, they have like $4 accounts, don't they?
Right.
But even at $10, when you look at their cost structure, they actually can't have enough trained staff to support the amount of people they've got on there. The whole industry of hosting is a bit like smoke and mirrors, really, Bill.
Tell you what, Bluehost
it's a bit of a dicey.
It has too many accounts, and HostGator and Bluehost are owned by the same people. But SiteGround, though, I will say SiteGround, which they doubled their price, they have pretty good service.
Well, the thing with SiteGround is
they're in Europe.
Well, I've got no problem. I was with them for years, Bill. The Bulgarian friends, I used to call them. The thing is, they can offer more technical support because they're based in Bulgaria, which is a lot cheaper than being based in the US. But you will find they will try. If they get any money out of you, they will not ever refund anything, right? Secondly, they try and upgrade you left, right. You understand it. So
you know that when they do I'm worried about the annual.
I've had clients where they've ended up with a $250 bill because they've upgraded them so much. So they're constantly trying to upgrade people, and those that don't really understand it, why should they? They end up with
$80. You get everybody with they'll install your secure socket for free and then charge you $80.
And the other thing is, it's basic hosting. If you ask them to do any kind of recovery or anything that's really out of any kind of average, they will hammer you. But they're what the good things about them, folks, and I don't know if you agree with this, Bill, is they give you a traditional C panel.
Yeah.
They don't give you this crap which you get off some of the other people where it's a custom. You don't get
a good C panel. It's
you
nice
don't get a C panel. But I say that, Bill, almost 90% of clients don't want anything to know about a C panel anyway. So it's really swings and roundabouts, Bill. But also their ticketing system is pretty well worked out. It's a threaded... This sounds ridiculous, folks, but you'd be amazed at the amount of hosting companies that don't provide a threaded ticketing system. You understand?
Have to explain that.
Pardon?
Threaded ticketing system. What do you mean?
Well, when you go into SiteGround, Bill, and you've got a question, they answer it, and you can see your original question.
Oh yeah, it doesn't thread to it. Okay,
right. Well, you'd be amazed. Yeah, but you'd be amazed at the amount of hosting companies that don't provide that, Bill. Every time they send you an email, you got to send them a new email back.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. Anyway, look at this week. You might want to look at ActiveCampaign again.
Yeah, I will do.
Calendly, of course. You're still using it, huh?
Oh, it's great.
I'm thinking about transitioning to that. Vecita.
You got fed up. You got fed up.
No, I like Vecita. I know how to use Vecita inside out. I can still use it. I was taking a break for a while, but it's 100. In fact, I got the free account now, so I still have all my data, but it's $150 a year. That's what I was just looking. I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, if I start making some reasonable money, candidly, I'll buy for the professional version. It's a bit like Zoom. I think Zoom and candidly,
Zoom is great.
There's some just great products out there, folks, isn't it?
All right, Jonathan, let's finish up.
And I want to say, we've still got one of our listeners, Thirsty Plus Mum. She found a I can hardly talk, folks. A typo mistake. She pointed it out to me. Thanks, dear, for that.
On what? On the template on yours? Yeah, it's good.
No, it was on the blab on my profile. There was a typo.
Oh, it could be on mine. I'm terrible.
I'm terrible at it.
One of my friends, Nick Loper, just went over 1 million downloads on his podcast, and he's getting over 4,000 a month now. Wow,
Who is?
Nick Loper from Concord, California. I know Nick.
What does he talk about?
It's real. I remember when he started. It's real simple. You should see his. I don't know if you can get this or not. I wonder how could I share this with you. It's on Facebook. So let me put this on. I'll add it to my business account. But anyway, he just talks about side hustle, how you can do an online business and start on the side and work into it, step by step, inch by inch, which I think is not a bad plan.
No, if you can do that.
That's what he talks about. It's a good show. He's really done well. 4,000 downloads. That's a month, I think. Yeah, a month. A month. Yeah, it must be a month. It's not.
Well, I think it's time to go, Bill.
Wait a second. No, not a month. He's got in March. He had 41,000.
Wow.
So he's got over 5,000 a day. That's good. Downloads. That's really good. All right, Jonathan. I'll talk to you.
Cut me out, Bill.
All right. Bye. I'm going to cut you out. Bye. I'll hang myself up. Bye.